Ilia quit on his stool, almost took Justin out in the second round. It looked like he had really tried to finish Justin, and then Justin started landing bombs in the third round. Ilia had slowed down quite a bit. Justin had him down with his two hands and just smashed a knee into his rib cage. You could see him go like that, and that was the end of the round. The end of the fourth round, Ilia quit on his stool. Both of his eyes were swollen shut. His nose was up. He'd taken so many punches to the face. That was the greatest fight of all time. You know, I'm a giant Ilia Topuria fan as well, and I think he'll be back better than ever. And I think sometimes a loss is like one of the most important things a fighter can ever have, because they realize like you can be beat, and you need to know that you're a human. You need to know that you can't just throw caution to the wind sometimes. You just engage in these wild scraps. Sometimes you have to be a little bit more tactical. Sometimes you got to realize like you can't take everybody out, and that's the case with Justin. He couldn't take him out, and he almost did in the second round. Got real fucking close. Real close.
Few moments in MMA divide fans more than a referee stepping in to stop a fight. One side believes every fighter deserves the chance to go out on their shield, while the other believes it's the referee's responsibility to protect athletes from unnecessary damage the moment they can no longer defend themselves intelligently. That's exactly why the aftermath of Ilia Topuria's brutal defeat has generated so much discussion, with fans across the sport continuing to debate whether the fight was allowed to go too far or whether the stoppage came at exactly the right moment.
And that's when he reacted, and he must have said no more.
I mean, he wanted to continue to fight, let the guy go. So he sits in the corner, tells his cornerman he can't see. And then he's got the doctor doing the eye test, and the doctor's saying no. It's like, oh, this fight's fucking over. But then they let him continue. But I don't know who threw in the towel in the fourth. It's almost like Goddard said, the fight's fucking over.
No, his brother said we're going to keep fighting, and then he looked into his brother's eyes, and then he waved it off.
Ilia literally could have walked off and been champ. If Ilia, when he hit him with that liver shot and Gaethje kind of went down, if he would have walked off, the ref would have stopped that fight. If you get hit with those liver shots and you kind of cramp up, you can't just get up. You kind of just are there for a sec. So if he walked off and Gaethje's just laying there, maybe the ref tries to stand him up or whatever, but...
The reason this conversation has become so emotional is because fighters almost never want a contest stopped. Every elite competitor believes they're one punch away from turning everything around, regardless of how difficult the situation looks. That's part of what makes them world-class athletes in the first place.
I think we just witnessed probably the greatest fight of this year. Ilia Topuria taking on Justin Gaethje. Now I'm gonna start off right here. I was one who picked against Justin Gaethje. When you look at Justin Gaethje's previous fights, when he's fought Dustin Poirier, when he's fought Charles Oliveira, when he's fought Khabib Nurmagomedov, when he's fought Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje gets dropped. He gets dropped and he gets finished. I mean, that's something that we've seen time and time again in his career. And what would make no different when he's fighting a guy like Ilia Topuria, where Ilia Topuria, what he does is he puts people to sleep. Max Holloway puts him to sleep. Charles Oliveira puts him to sleep. Alex Volkanovski got put to sleep. And you guys might hate me for this, but the best thing Justin Gaethje can do is retire. He should retire on this amazing victory against a legend like Ilia Topuria. I mean, I keep saying Ilia Topuria's a legend. He's still young in his career, but he's a phenomenal athlete. You retire on top. You save your brain cells. You ride off in a sunset. You beat one of the best athletes. You gave him his first fucking defeat right away with the White House belt and the undisputed lightweight championship belt.
The mindset that allows someone to become a champion is often the same mindset that makes them refuse to accept defeat, even when their body has already reached its limit. Looking back at the fight, many people believe Justin Gaethje's relentless pressure gradually took control of the contest. Rather than giving Topuria opportunities to settle into his rhythm, he constantly forced exchanges, mixed his attacks, and continued building momentum as the fight progressed.
And I'm not saying he cheated or anything. I'm just saying, I guarantee you don't want to go into battle thinking, had this huge fight with my wife. You don't want any of those thoughts in your head before a fight.
I mean, Ilia Topuria, in previous fights, you could tell he always had like his family, his wife, his kids. I just watched a documentary that came out on Ilia Topuria, and he was just talking about how much he loved his girl. And that could have been his fault that they got a divorce. I wonder how much that had to do with everything.
It had everything to do with everything. It's all connected.
Yeah, Ilia's in the hospital. He's busted up. You know, I'm not a doctor, but his eye looked like he probably has a broken orbital. I don't know that's not a fact, but I'm just assuming. And my plans for him are to go home and rest and recover and take his time. And you know, tonight was a tonight was a rough night for him. I just want to make sure he's healthy and good, and not even thinking about him fighting again. Just want him to go home and relax and rest and heal.
By the later stages, the physical damage had become one of the biggest talking points, with many observers feeling the punishment was beginning to outweigh any realistic path back into the fight. That's where the debate really begins. When should a referee step in? Should a fighter always be given every possible chance to recover, or should the contest end the moment it becomes clear they're no longer able to defend themselves effectively?
Physically, now I don't know what the truth is, but all these reports are that he has 2 fractured orbitals and a broken nose. Just that alone, just the orbitals alone, like anytime you've got eye injuries, like anything severe with your eyes, long-term consequences vary. You know,
it's psychological.
Absolutely.
And your body heals.
And physical.
The body is resilient.
Yeah. Like, I'm telling you,
broken bones make stronger bones. Like that is his orbital bones will be stronger.
It depends on where, though, Justin. The orbital bone, I had my orbital broken, and for 6 months I would do this and my tooth would move, and it's right where my sinus cavity is. You remember when you hit me with the spinning elbow?
Your tooth would move,
dude.
When you push
right
on
here,
your cheek,
and my tooth would move.
Oh, God.
I still feel the soft spot, but this is a very weak area where your sinus cavity is. And you broke both orbitals and the nose.
It's a question the sport has wrestled with for decades, and opinions remain completely divided. Many coaches and analysts have argued over the years that protecting a fighter's long-term health has to come before everything else. Fighters themselves often disagree in the heat of the moment, but history is full of examples where athletes later admitted a stoppage probably prevented even more serious damage. That's why discussions surrounding recovery have become just as important as discussions surrounding the result itself. After a physically demanding fight, the focus immediately shifts toward healing, rehabilitation, and rebuilding confidence.
I knew that was going to happen to him. Walking forward with their hands down on the opening bell, you're going to get walloped.
People saying I'm juiced, what a compliment. People saying I got bricks in my fucking gloves, what a compliment.
Do you see the picture, the image? There's like rocks in his hands.
What a compliment.
Have they not watched any of his fights?
As ambitious as you are, you can never make everybody happy.
No.
That's why it's hard to be a champion.
Which sucks.
The pressure.
You know for a fact, you do not ever as a fighter say, I cannot see. It's over.
Right.
And he was counting on that. He said he had already stated it. He didn't need to say it again. I stopped him twice. That night. There's no doubt about it.
Facial injuries, vision problems, and long recovery periods don't just affect the body. They affect preparation, timing, and the confidence required to compete against elite opposition. Returning too quickly can create entirely new problems, which is why patience is often viewed as one of the most important parts of the comeback process. Despite the disappointment, many people still believe this could become one of the defining moments of Topuria's career. The history of mixed martial arts is filled with champions who suffered painful setbacks before returning with new skills, new perspectives, and a completely different approach to competition. Defeat forces fighters to ask difficult questions that years of winning often hide, and the answers to those questions frequently shape the next stage of their careers. Now attention naturally turns toward what's next. Does Topuria return immediately against another elite contender? Does he take extra time to recover completely before accepting another major fight? Or does this experience lead to adjustments that ultimately make him an even more complete fighter than he was before? Whatever happens, one thing is certain. Interest in Ilia Topuria hasn't disappeared because of one difficult night. If anything, fans have become even more invested in seeing how he responds, because the greatest comeback stories in MMA often begin immediately after the toughest setbacks. The next time he steps into the Octagon, people won't just be watching to see whether he wins. They'll be watching to discover what kind of fighter adversity has created.